Yes, what is up, everyone, and welcome to Juan Carlos Osorio's favorite podcast of Soccer We Trust. I'm Jimmy Trash Can Cream Cheese Conrad, also known as El Guapo, and we're doing a little addition by subtraction today for this exclusive for YouTube-only interview as I ditch Hollywood Heath Pierce and Charlie Chuck Wagon Davies for one very special guest. So after you hit like and subscribe, it's time for the tail of the tape, everybody. Here we go. Standing 1.75 meters tall, weighing in at 73 kilograms. I'll let you do the math of that at home. It's the pride of Guadalajara who started his professional career with Chivas before scoring goals for some of the biggest clubs in the world, most notably Manchester United and Real Madrid, before making his way to the City of Angels to be the stud striker for the most successful club in MLS history, the LA Galaxy. And by the way, he also played in 3 World Cups for Mexico. No big deal. He's also the current captain for PepsiCo's Team of Champions, which is a platform to give kids in underserved areas a chance to play the beautiful game. It's Javier Hernandez, also known as Chicharito! Yo, Chicho, what's up? Good to see you.
What's up, Jimmy? Thank you for the intro, man. Even though you stole my second nickname, eh? Because in Mexico I'm known like El Guapo. So yeah, you stole it, man.
Well, I'm gonna take it. It's mine. It's definitely mine.
Of course. Yeah, you have the copyright, bro. No worries.
Great to see you. Great to see you. All right, so let's start with some fun. I don't know if you've seen the show Ted Lasso, but one of the characters, you've seen it.
Of course, I did.
Okay, so Dani Rojas.
I went in for the last episode of the season on the 31.
I'm excited for it too. Yes, great series. But Dani Rojas, one of the characters on the show, is rumored to be modeled after you. He's a striker from Guadalajara. He's got a great attitude and outlook on life. He's also very handsome. He scored a goal against Chelsea with his face. You know, I mean, are you flattered by Cristo Fernandez's depiction of you?
Yeah, man. I mean, if it's completely like true the rumor, of course I'm happy and I'm glad, man. You know, because it's always nice that as well. You need to have fun about yourself a little bit. You know, you don't need to take yourself very serious sometimes. You know, sometimes our ego and our pride, trick us sometimes. So it's great. It's perfect. It's fine. And then a part of how they can portray any one of us, the message of that series is amazing, man. You know, because of course it's very dramatically and it's very exaggerated, but the true messages about that series is something that even in our dressing rooms, in our sport, we can put them in practice a little bit.
100%. Football is life, of course.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Keeping the fun going. Let's talk about some derbies that you've played in some of the, and you've had the opportunity to play in some of the biggest in the world, the Super Classico, Chivas between Club America, the Manchester Derby, the Madrid Derby, United versus Liverpool. How does El Trafico between your LA Galaxy and LAFC stack up against what you've seen and experienced in your career?
Man, I think there's a lot of derbies and clásicos over here in the MLS. But I think for the history that my organization has, and as well the since LAFC came out and in the way that they did it, I think we are right now like at least the most exciting Trafico, and the most exciting Clásico in the US, I guess, because first of all, because of the city, and always this city has a lot of impact and eyes on everything that is happening over here. And then those derbies, those Traficos, every single time they're very exciting with a lot of goals. It's like never a draw with no goals, So I think all the players that have been playing, of course, those the derbies make everything more attractive, And it's amazing, man. It's amazing because it's an organization, like we can call it like very young, like LAFC, with a lot of hunger and desire to try to get the legacy that my organization already has, And the challenge for us is like going back at the top of the tables and fighting for titles and be over there. So I think that's why it makes it very, very, very exciting, that derby and that Trafico. And yeah, man, I always enjoy it every single time that I play against them.
Yeah, I've had a chance to go to one of the El Traficos, and fantastic. I mean, the atmosphere, you can feel the tension in the stadium. And I think, to your point, it's very special, and it's only going to grow from here, especially as more and more things happen on the field, like maybe a Ricky Pooch showing his jersey to the LAFC fans. But that's a conversation for another time. Now, as I mentioned before, LA Galaxy are the most successful club in MLS history, but you're off to a tough start this season. How do you get your team back on the front foot? How do you start? I obviously scoring goals is the obvious answer, and not giving up any. But what is it you think collectively you have to do as a team to get back on the right side of things?
I think what we're doing, man, and Jimmy, you were in locker rooms, in dressing rooms, and man, it's just sticking together. It's and something that I learned in the best teams, and even here, with some players that I play with that I already won MLS cups. It's like you will never, you don't need to feel, like you're almost God and you're the best one when you are in a good streak, and now as well that we have a very tough start. We don't feel the worst, and we don't feel like we already done, or we already yeah, gone off every competition. Like I said, we're still on in the three competitions that they're going to be in this year. In the MLS, in our conference, we are at 6 points away. It's not that we are 10, 12, 15 points away from playoffs, man. And you know how playoffs are. Then in the
Yeah.
cup, we show that we want to win that competition as well. And then when Leagues Cup comes, the price and the benefit of playing against Mexican teams that are very tough and it's new. And then as well, the price of going to play a CONCACAF chance, to play CONCACAF Champions spot over there. So, man, I think it's just sticking together and be as calm as you can, because that's about life, man. When everyone is praising you, when you can control your emotions and you don't believe that much noise. Because the other day I was speaking with one of my friends, and I was saying, like, man, look what I realized through time is like, don't get me wrong, I'm a good soccer player, right? And then if I play a good game, it is not going to make me a better soccer player. But if I play a bad game, it's not going to make me a bad soccer player. It's just that I played a bad game. I'm still a good player, but I need to show it. That's what it is. That's what it's life about. And then of course media and some other stuff makes the things more interesting because it's more pressure, man. So it's more interesting because it's more challenging. And then as well, the situation about our fans and everything make it more complicated. But as well, it make it more beautiful because if we come back, Jimmy, we come back, and if we do the things that no one is believing that we can that we can do and we can make, man, then it's a different story. Then in the end, it's gonna be like this Cinderella story about this organization that they put us on the floor since day one, and then you never know. So that's how we need to go. Sticking together, still believing, even though that sometimes you cannot see the light in the end of the tunnel. You need just to keep going, man. That's what we're doing, and that's what I think is gonna bring us further in the MLS, probably further in the US Cup, and as well in the Leagues Cup.
I think what's interesting about the fan perspective in general is that as players, we care just as much, and we actually have some influence on the results, of course. But we're still secretly fans. We want to win. We're doing everything that we possibly can. And it's nice that there's a set of fans too that care just as much as the players do. They just don't have as much control over the results.
And they're in the all right, of course, Jimmy. To ask for whatever and complain and do. I'm never against that. The only thing is that then, sorry that I interrupt you, but it needs to be aligned that I care as much as you care. And of course I am the one trying to give you what you want, but in the end I'm human too. I can do mistakes and things probably cannot go in our way, so that's part of it.
Yeah, of course. And I wish you the best in finding that sweet spot with everybody. So let's talk about the Leagues Cup, because I think it's a really special competition. I think that MLS has worked very hard to find a meaningful competition with their Mexican league counterparts in Liga MX. How important do you think it is, since you've had the experience of growing up in Mexico, of course, but also in playing for Chivas Guadalajara to start your career, to have that crossover with MLS and the Canadian and American teams? Because I think there's a nice natural rivalry there between the Mexican league teams and MLS teams.
Of course, I think it's great, man. It's like always, right? It's the first competition. It's going to be very unlikely that it's going to be the greatest competition and the greatest situation that both countries created. Don't get me wrong. It's the first one. And that's the beauty of it, that it's starting. Then we're going to see how evolve. Then we're going to see about schedule. Then we're going to see about how the competition can evolve in a more positive way, in a more productive way for everyone. But the beauty of all of this is that I think US and as well with Mexico, they're starting to see that the rivalry is not going to stay just in rivalry and who wins and who's going to lose. It's going to be of like how we help each other to benefit ourselves. right? That's the most beautiful part. That's why, as well, the national teams. It's even though that we probably say that American people don't want Mexico to go to the World Cup. No, man, the World Cups are better when U.S. and Mexico are there. What we are fighting is that Mexico, we want to be in first place, and we don't want to be beating by you. The other way around, let's say, same as USA, right, Jimmy? But in the end, we're in the same continent. We share so much. We are neighbors. We have so much people of our countries in the other countries. So, man, as long as we can find that competition, a part of the excitement and of course the jokes and who win and who lose, the benefit that what we can take for each one of us. So I think it's going to be a great competition. It's a great start, and then we'll see how it's going to evolve, because I think from now on it's only positive changes that I think both countries are gonna keep making.
And the stadiums are going to be electric. I feel like that the atmosphere of these games are going to be amazing. And you're taking on Club Leon to start, who are the defending champions. So I'm very curious to see how you do with regard to that. Now, I'm glad you brought up the U.S. and Mexico both qualifying for big tournaments, in the World Cup in particular. I think I agree with you. I think that's very important. But let's talk about the Nations League semifinals, because the U.S. is taking on Mexico here in a couple weeks. And Mexico haven't beaten the U.S. in almost 4 years, Chicha. So what does Mexico have to do, and Diego Coca in particular, the manager, to kind of finally get a W against their biggest rivals?
I mean, what I watched before this game that they're going to play last game, I think it's just like, I mean, he needs time, and it's new in the spot that he is. Being a manager is not easy to be a Mexican manager, because the pressure and everything, and more because of what it happens in the last World Cup. So he has a little bit of like I said, of the hangover of the other process that he needs to take, and he needs to transform all of that. So I think he needs time, man. He needs time. I think he's doing a very good job. He's calling a lot of new players as well. Like I said, very young players that are starting making a name by themselves in Mexico and as well around the world. So I think it's just a transitioning, It's a transition. It takes time, but hopefully, my country can and my teammates over there, can have a very good day. And we'll see. Of course, we'll see, because that's the beauty of it as well. All the growth that USA has done so far, and now the rivalry is like that. Now we can speak that who's going to win, right? That's the beauty of it. So, I mean, of course, I want Mexico to win. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think what Mexico needs to do is give everything, like always. Take the most respectful way to face USA, but as well try to beat them. That's how I grew up, and that's how I know to play this sport. It's a competition, of course, with all the respectful, but I mean, you need to go to give everything.
You got to beat your rivals. Anytime you get a chance, you got to beat your rivals. So let's keep your Coach Chicharito hat on right now, and let's leave emotion out of it. Do you have any favorite player on the U.S. team right now that you admire their game? It could be Christian Pulisic or Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa. I'm throwing names out there for you. I don't want to put any words in your mouth. But is there any player that you think, that guy's pretty good, and I wish he was on my team?
I mean, you mentioned the first guy, with Christian. I think, and I'm going to say about him because everyone was doubting that he was going to be a very important player in the league, like Mexico. And I felt a little bit like projected in himself, and very like because it happened the same with me when I went to Manchester United, because he's not the tallest, he's not the strongest. I wasn't either. So everyone was speaking that he's going to be very tough. And even though right now he's still he's not the first like in the 11 with Chelsea, but what he did in Germany, it was amazing. And a lot of people was doubting about how he was gonna develop, and that's why I admire him about him, of course, because it's a little bit similar as the path that I did. Everyone thought that I was gonna be to Manchester United and just be a bench player and never gonna play, and then in my first season I was starting, and then we won Premier League and etc. So that's why Christian for me is a player that I admire a lot, and I think what he's doing for the country, even for the MLS, that is an American player playing over there, is helping so much, man. And I admire, and I'm always a man that when I face USA, I want to face with the best players that they can be, and I don't like to play against easy teams or something like that. So always facing against him, that he makes the USA team a better opposition. It's always a very good rival, and I always want to beat him and play against him, of course.
We got our first flex of the day. Chicha announced that he won the Premier League with Manchester United. I respect that. Nice job. All right.
So he won the Champions League. You can see he's not flexing.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if I won any significant trophies like that, I'd be flexing all day too. Don't worry about it. So who is your favorite U.S. men's national team player of all time. Now, I'll go first. From Mexico's perspective, I loved Claudio Suarez, El Emperador. I thought he was so good. I mean, he's got so many caps for the national team. And what I loved about his game was that he wasn't the best athlete, but he could think the game. He was thinking 3, 4, 5 plays in advance. Oh, and such a great leader. And what an amazing human being. I've become friends with Claudio, and he's an amazing human being. And so it's a big thrill for me to have that friendship with him. But I used to look up to him as a player, as a former center back myself. And so you don't have to name me as your favorite national team player, but I wouldn't mind if you did.
My God, you took my answer,
we never played against each other, which is unfortunate. But what did who would you say all time?
I'll say 2 names, because those 2 names, apart that I admire them, I play against them in a lot of occasions and even in clubs. But I say Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey for me. And of course, because they were strikers or forwards, we can call them, because Landon Donovan wasn't like a striker; he was more as a forward position. He can play in any part of the front part. So yeah, those 2, man, those 2. And I mean, especially Landon in the 2002 World Cup, with that header and that goal when the whole country was thinking and we were celebrating. No, I wasn't, but everyone was celebrating because, hey, we want to face. Oh yeah, because we're gonna face USA. So we're done. We're gonna make history. Blah blah blah. And then we lost. And Landon scored the goal. And you know how Landon was a little bit of like a very not very like pleasant people for our country, because in the way that he spoke, because he was very straightforward every single time. He wasn't ever ashamed to say what he thinks.
He was kind of a punk back then, no problem.
Exactly, a little bit, but that brought a very good rivalry, And
right, he got that attitude.
And then I play against him, So I mean, I'll say those 2 guys, because I think those 2 are one of the best American soccer players ever. What they did in Europe and as well in their country and in their national team, it's unbelievable.
No, I love that. That's great answers. And I got the chance to play with both of those guys, so it's hard to argue with you otherwise. All right, not only are you the captain of the LA Galaxy, you're also a captain of the PepsiCo Team of Champions. And I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So tell us about your involvement in this project. And do you feel like the United States is doing enough to make soccer more accessible for everybody? Because I feel like this is a really important platform, and I'm glad that you're doing it.
No, I think it's an amazing project that I felt pretty blessed and fortunate to be part of it when PepsiCo Group started talking with me about that they want me to jump in and be the captain of this team of champions and everything that we're doing. I was so blessed, and so fortunate that it wasn't a no-brainer, because, man, I'm always been in favor of any project that they can bring a lot of opportunities, to people that even myself, I grew up playing in fields that they were not even fields, not even grass. It was with dirt, like completely dirt fields. So if I'm part of it, I was like feeling that I can bring a little bit of what I have done in my career to bring younger generations an opportunity to be more involved in this sport and more in this country, that is developing, is improving slowly, and getting like very deep roots in American culture. So I think it's an amazing project when small kids can go and play in good fields with good uniforms, with proper equipment, and then of course with good managers, with another teammates, so that helps your development in a much positive way, of course.
Yeah, I'm thrilled that you were one of the ambassadors for this program, and shout out to PepsiCo for the Team of Champions. I think it's a great idea and platform. Now, what can the United States, just our country overall, given your time here now, what do you think that we can learn from other countries you've lived in and played in? And how do you think we can get more kids involved and getting better, right? We're talking about development now.
I think just maintaining in the way that I think MLS is like of course, is the head of everything, the peak of the pyramid. But I think that's going to bring more attention to those kids. If this sport is more in like exposed in a way, they're going to start watching it, because that's what we did in Mexico, regardless that it's a different way that we grew up with this sport. But whatever you see in the TV was about soccer. Every single time it was about soccer, football. So that helps in a way that you want to at least try it. In Mexico, that's what happens. And most of the kids at least try it. And then if they don't like it, they can search for different goals. But I think, and if you like it and you feel that you're good enough, you try to be a soccer player. Most of the youth in Mexico, they want to be soccer players. So I think what MLS is doing, and with all of these projects with Pepsi and everything, is just putting attention to this beautiful sport that is, in my point of view, is the most follower in the whole world, man. So I think it's just a matter of time. The growth that MLS have done in 27 years, it's not a lot, man. We're speaking about Leagues Cup, and 27 years it wasn't a league in this country, man. And we're speaking that the first club founded, it was, I don't know how many hundred of years, in the world. So it's like, man, it's great. So I think it's just time, man. Just time, Jimmy. We're not going to see it, or probably yes, we're going to see it, that soccer is going to be one of the most important sports in this country for sure. But I'm sure that that's going to happen eventually.
Well, from your mouth to the soccer god's ears, I want that to happen, of course. Okay, one last question before we let you go, and I appreciate your time. What is the best jersey swap that you've ever had?
Wow.
Or maybe somebody turned you down. Maybe you went up to, I don't know, Zidane, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not switching my jersey." I don't know. But what's your best jersey swap? Who's the most famous jersey you have in your closet?
Look, I'm not going to say it's not about the famous ones, because I could tell you, of course, I have a Cristiano Ronaldo shirt, I have a Messi one. I will say like that, but I will say
he's flexing again. He's flexing everybody.
One of the most significant ones that they come into my mind, there are three ones. One, it was like Luka Modric, because I asked for his shirt, and then 2 months later, he was my teammate, and he was like, I asked for his shirt, and then 2 months later, I was his teammate, because I changed it in the World Cup. So that was one. Then the second one with Fernando Torres, because Fernando Torres was the crush of my sister like forever. So when I went and I asked, we were even warming up when he was on Chelsea, and I asked him for the shirt. And not only he said yes, we start like talking. So that opened up a conversation, and we start talking. So that was an amazing. And the third one I was very surprised, man. It was like in a friendly game that we play against Barcelona. I don't remember. It was I think Norway, Denmark. I don't remember. I wanted to go and ask the shirt to David Villa, so I was ready. But then Mascherano came, because he was the number 14. And he asked me, "Hey, Chicharito, I would love to have your shirt, because I admire you, whatever, but I love the number 14, and I want your shirt." And I was like, "Of course, man. Yeah, give it to me." Of course, like, let's change it. Of course. So that he came and asked me for me was like, wow, man, it's so cool, So those three are like
very cool. Wow. Those are great stories. And that's the best part. Anytime I see one of the shirts I traded with, there's always a nice story behind it. That's a great one about Mascherano. Yeah. All right. Chicharito, thank you so much for being you. You're an absolute beast of a human being. Let's give it up to him and PepsiCo for this opportunity. Thank you for listening and watching in Soccer We Trust, and we'll see you next time. Later.